House Concurrent Resolution 1020 by McCall of the House and Treat of the Senate, a resolution relating to celebrating Bob Stoops.
Mr. Speaker McCall, you're recognized to present HJR 1020.
Good morning, members. It's my honor and privilege today to present House Concurrent Resolution 1020, a concurrent resolution celebrating Bob Stoops in the state of Oklahoma. If I may, the resolution reads, whereas Bob Stoops was named the 21st head coach of Oklahoma football in 1998 and led the Sooners for 18 years until his retirement as head coach in 2017. And whereas Coach Stoops is the winningest coach in Oklahoma history with a record of 191-48, leading the Sooners to double-digit wins in 14 of his 18 seasons, the most of any FBS coach from 2000 to 2016, and to at least 8 victories in each of his 17 seasons, which was the longest active streak in the nation. And whereas Coach Stoops' victories include 10 Big 12 conference titles, the 2000 national championship, and a school record 18 consecutive bowl berths. And whereas he is the only coach in the BCS era to win the Fiesta Bowl, Orange Bowl, Rose Bowl, Sugar Bowl, and the national championship. And he accumulated more victories over his first 18 seasons than any coach in the game's history. And whereas during his 18 years at OU, he coached the Sooners to more wins than any other Power 5 program during the time span. And whereas 7 of his teams finished in the AP Top 5, including each of his last 2 seasons, while 3 more finished number 6. And whereas earning the moniker Big Game Bob early in his OU tenure, Coach Stoops' tendency for knocking off quality opponents was reflected in his 61-30 record against AP Top 25 opponents. And whereas OU's home record under Coach Stoops was an incredible 101-9 at Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium, with all 110 of those games being sellouts. And whereas among his many coaching honors, Coach Stoops was a 6-time Big 12 Coach of the Year, 2-time National Coach of the Year, and last year was inducted into the College Hall of Fame. And whereas Coach Stoops produced 37 first-team All-Americans, 2 AP Players of the Year, and 79 NFL draft picks as OU's head coach, and whereas he coached 2 Heisman Trophy winners, Jason White in 2003 and Sam Bradford in 2008, and 7 Heisman finalists, with a number of other players earning honors, such as Nagurski, Thorpe, and Butkus Awards. And whereas in addition to his legendary contributions to the OU football program and to the university as a whole, Coach Stoops has been a pillar in the Oklahoma community. Since its inception, the Bob Stoops Champions Foundation has provided over $2 million to organizations that help local children in Norman and Oklahoma City. Just some of the organizations that received support last year include the City Care Whiz Kids program, Norman Regional Health Foundation, Toby Keith Foundation, Oklahoma Children's Hospital at OU Health, Cavett Kids Foundation, Oklahoma Institute of Child Advocacy Heroes Ball, Sooners Helping Sooners, Norman Public Schools, Norman Youth Foundation, OU Dance Marathon, Citizens Advisory Board, Oklahoma City Center, Oklahoma City Police Athletic League, Alameda Church of Christ, Operation Hungry Santa, United Way of Norman, and Fields and Futures. Whereas Bob Stoops has given tirelessly of his time, paying frequent visits to patients at Oklahoma Children's Hospital and working with special spectators to bring seriously ill children and their families to practices and games, fully immersing them in the Sooner football experience and welcoming them into the OU family. And whereas in November of 2021, Coach Stoops again stepped in to serve Oklahoma football, returning to the sidelines as interim head coach during a postseason and leading the team to a victory in the Valero Alamo Bowl. And whereas throughout his coaching career, Coach Stoops' philosophy has always been to put the best interest of his players first. And whereas for more than 2 decades, Sooner Nation has rallied behind Coach Stoops, inspired by his iconic leadership, unmatched enthusiasm, legendary confidence, and deep loyalty to the University of Oklahoma. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the second session of the 58th Oklahoma Legislature, the Senate concurring therein, that the Oklahoma Legislature celebrate and commend Bob Stoops on a career of service to the Oklahoma community and the success with all the OU football program. Mr. Speaker, I move adoption.
Members, Representative McCall requests unanimous consent that the resolution be adopted. Without objection, that'll be the order. Speaker McCall, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that all members of the House be made co-authors.
That is a proper motion. Without objection, that'll be the order. Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor today to recognize and call to the podium Mr. Bob Stoops and President Joe Harris from the University of Oklahoma. Mr. Speaker, would you recognize Coach Stoops for a few words?
Coach Stoops, you are recognized. Greet the crowd. You're
Set to
recognized.
go.
You bet.
Okay.
Hot mic.
Truth be told, and I just said this a little while ago at our breakfast, but you talk about an absolute fish out of water. I'd so rather be in the middle of the Cotton Bowl fighting Texas for 4 hours than to be here being recognized by myself. I'll be the first to tell you I did nothing alone. My team, my players are the absolute best players. Any team around you, they make you. My players made me. I was lucky enough this past weekend to have over 200 of them back for the spring game and saw so many of them, and always thank them for their commitment and work in our program. And again, they ultimately make you as a head coach, as well as your assistant coaches, support staff. Again, everybody has a hand in it. Our administration, you don't do it alone. So it's always very uneasy for me to be recognized individually. But I want to thank Speaker McCall and all of you for recognizing me this way. It starts with our president Joe Harris. We have great leadership at OU. I've been working with Joe since 1998. He and I wrestled over my first contract. He was always and then the next year we'd wrestle over it again, and then we went 13-0, and then he said, "What do you want to make next year?" So, but truly, I've loved working with Joe for 20-some years. We're in great hands at OU with his direction and leadership and his support team around him. And again, I recognize his being up here as much as he is. All of you House and Senate members, nothing happens at the university without your support, your legislation, and your vision. So we appreciate it. I know our administration appreciates it. And please keep sending it our way in positive ways, if you would. talking about, this past year and getting called off the golf course to come back and lead that Sunday was really fairly easy. And I think I've been given way too much credit for it. I wasn't golfing all that well that day, so it was easy to leave the course. And truly, I didn't have to travel back from Florida to do it. I'm right down the road. And let's face it, even in your positions as well, you leave something for 4 or 5 years, you don't forget how to do it when you've done it your whole life. And it made it easy that I was able to reach the players and they accepted me. But I remember that day, my primary mission, my first mission was to remind everybody, players, community, everybody at the university, Lincoln Riley didn't invent OU football, okay? And everyone needed a little wake-up call because they kind of slipped into thinking he did. And I sure as heck didn't either. All right, it goes back, all the way to Bud, and you could even say Benny Owen. But I think in the modern era of football, Bud Wilkinson created the monster that Coach Switzer always, referred to. And I had to deal with it for 18 years, and it's a monster. But I loved it. So I'm the fortunate one to have been able to be at Oklahoma for all these years, 18 as the head coach. And fortunately, they've kept me on here for a while that I could step in moments like that. Hopefully we don't have any more. But anyway, I've been the lucky one to have been here all this time. I love Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma. The university, of course, is dear to me. And I am so excited about what our future looks like. Brent Venables was absolutely the right guy. The guy has got a track record of success. Back to Kansas State, I recruited him to come to Kansas State when we were terrible when we got there. When he left to come here to OU, very successful. Everyone knows what Coach Snyder's done. So Brent's been on the ground floor for that and helped build that program. He helped us here. People forget when we arrived in 98, we hadn't had a winning record in 6 years here at Oklahoma. 2 years later, we were undefeated. Brent was a major part of that. Was with us 13 years and then went 10 years to Clemson, where they've had as big a resurgence, or not resurgence, they've come from nowhere to be one of the premier teams in the country. And he's been there to see that. He's got all the experience in the world. I don't need to tell you about his passion and energy. It oozes all over the place and infects everybody. So I promise you, we are in great, great hands, and I look forward to the future in a really positive way. But this is long for me, Joe. You know that. But I truly do thank you for the recognition. It means a great deal to me. And love the state of Oklahoma. Boomer.
Sooner. Thank you. Great job. Thank you. Appreciate it. Coach, thank you for being here today. It's really an honor to have you in the House of Representatives. Members, just on a personal note, what I appreciate most about Coach Stoops, it's not the great winning record is pretty awesome for an alumni, for the alumni at the university. But Coach, I just want to say thank you for your character and your integrity, the way that you have poured yourselves into the young people that have been through the program at the university. Members, can we get one more round of applause for Coach Stoops? Thank you. Members, today is OU Day at the Capitol. Mr. Speaker, if you would, please recognize President Joe Harris, the 15th President of the University of Oklahoma, for a few comments.
Mr. President, you're recognized for a few comments.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker, and let's all be honest. Let's sit down. The big guy's already spoken. Hey, thank you all so much for letting us be here today. I love, as you can see behind me, that we have the Spirit Squad and even Boomer here today. Yeah, absolutely. You got to clap for Boomer. So I'm a lifelong Oklahoman, and the job that I am most honored to have is to be in this role. And our message today is to say thank you. When I talk a lot about the great things happening at OU, and I'd be happy to spend the next 30 minutes talking about it, but I will not do that. But none of those things would be possible without the legislature, without this body, without all that's done together. Right? These coaches talk about teamwork and where we are, and there's always a desire to sit up here and rant only about OU. But I can tell you, it would not be possible without the leadership of this state, and it's exciting where it's going. Last year was the best year in the history of OU as it relates to legislative appropriations, and I hope that we're worthy of it. When you look at where we're going and what you're doing to help move our state forward through OU, it's stunning. I'll just give you 3 quick facts, although I got a bunch more I'd love to give you. Right now, we just had our freshman class, the largest freshman class in our history, and we're going to be even bigger next year because of the demand for students, because of what you all have done at the University of Oklahoma. Highest GPA ever, 3.66 average. But to me, the most important statistic is just like my father, who was the first in his family to go to college. In that record size and record GPA freshman class, last year and this coming year, 25% of those students that are in that class are the first in the history of their families to go past high school. It's life-changing. I think it's worth applause. I agree. It's a life-changing experience for that individual and for everyone else involved. Right now, we have record research because of your investment in engineering. In those key areas, we have skyrocketed up 25% in the last 2 years. We're going to announce another research record, almost $400 million per year in research in this state that will change lives and improve economies. That's because of your investment, and it's changing the lives of our students. Our alumni are inspired by what you're doing at OU. And we have more than doubled the last 10-year giving average from our alumni who are responding to what you're doing. There's a lot more that I could say, but in reality, it's all about the partnership in this state. And as much as I'd love to just say Boomer Sooner, and I always do, right? Moving our state forward is a team effort. That's OU, that's OSU, that's the other 23 institutions of higher education, that's the legislature, the executive branch, all of us. All of us came here for one reason. All of us are in these roles for one reason, right? To improve the lives of others, to improve the life of this state. And it's a humbling honor because when you see what we produce, when you see who we attract, right, it's stunning. And who do we have with us right now? We're honoring Bob Stoops. Over the last 20 plus years, he's become one of my closest friends in the world. I got to introduce him as one of his 3 individuals to introduce him at the College Football Hall of Fame just a few months ago. And after 18 years of being our head coach, he could have gone anywhere. He could have left for any state, right? But he stayed here, right? Because he's Oklahoman. And I think that as we honor Bob Stoops today, as we think about the role of the University of Oklahoma, right? This is not just OU Day, right? OU is a proxy for one member of this team that moves this state forward. And I can tell you that on a day we're honoring OU, but really honoring Bob Stoops, of all those accomplishments that the speaker listed, right? Of all those great accolades, to me, they all take a back seat to his character. They all take a back seat to the decisions he makes during clutch moments, right? To the selfless time he spent never advertising, but always going to see the children at our children's hospital who have cancer during the busiest of weeks, right? The decision he made to stay to be an Oklahoman, the decision he made to go off that golf course and help, right? The decision to stay here and be one of us. We should all take pride in Bob Stoops, and we should all take pride in OU Day, OSU Day, and all of us. We're one state. We're proud to honor Bob Stoops, and thank you for your time.
For more information, you can visit TulsaWorld.com.